So thank you for coming back in. I understand things have been a little bit hard.
They've been a little rough, yes. Yeah.
So what do you feel like has been particularly challenging? Like maybe just start with a few scenarios that have been a little bit hard so I can understand what's going on.
Well, I think everything is challenging right now, but I think what's really difficult is our toddler at home. Well, 3 years old, so young child at home, and we try to really plan our day out because it's really important because there's 5 of us in the house, so we all have schedules that are all different, and we'll plan out what's going to happen in the morning and who needs to be where at what time, and my son will have a big tantrum and it just throws us all off, and I don't know how to get things back on track when there's a screaming child and I need to take him to daycare and go to work, and our girls have to go to school, and there's just like I get frustrated and I just don't know what to do.
So in those situations, if you think back on it, is it possible to anticipate that he might have had a hard time with what you were asking him to do, or does it seem to just happen out of the blue? Everything's going on
absolutely.
Fine. More the second one kind of out of the blue?
No, we know exactly. We know the tantrum's gonna happen. We just kind of hope that day it's just gonna not happen.
So do they tend to be mostly when you're trying to transition, when you're trying to go from home into the car or activity to bed or things like that? Or
I would say yes, during the transition. It's more like a transition to, okay, it's time to get off the potty and go eat breakfast, and then there's no, I don't want to go and do this,
sweetie.
And then that he needs breakfast before he goes to school, but then it takes 20 minutes to get him off the potty to eat something, and then we always know that we'll get breakfast ready and it's never what he wants ever, but it actually is what he wants, which is the most frustrating thing. So we have to go through this big tantrum before he just ends up getting what we planned on in the first place.
So do you think when he wakes up in the morning he's actually starving, like super hungry? Do you think it could be like a hangry thing where he's so hungry he just gets difficult, or?
I think maybe sometimes if he refuses to eat dinner the night before, but I think that he is really looking for control and power and influence.
Yeah, so sometimes it kind of feels like he's almost trying to ruin the day by controlling how things are going.
Absolutely. And I have no idea how to appease that and get things done for our family at the same time without my husband and I saying, maybe you should do this differently, or maybe you should do this differently.
Yeah, because then his initial unpleasant moment becomes an unpleasant moment for everybody. So for you and for everybody else in the house, it's just everything dissolves.
Oh yeah, it's just you can feel just like the tension. Everybody's like, let's get out of here. We gotta get out of here.
So the first thing I would try to do is to not assume that he's trying to do what he's doing, but to see the behaviors as though they are secondary to some sort of unmanageable feeling, and that he's not waking up in the morning trying to ruin everybody's day and completely implode the process. But yes, he's a 3-year-old and he wants to try to start controlling his environment, but also there are factors about whether he's hungry, whether he's still tired. Sometimes when they're that little, even just having to pee or having to poop or something can really throw you off. You don't feel good. So just knowing that he's probably waking up not feeling good, and it's a big mixture of yuck, and thinking about it more that way so you can tune into what he's feeling, how he's feeling, what he needs, rather than how he's behaving and how he's disrupting everybody else's day. Because when you start looking at it that way, like he's disrupting everybody's day, he's trying to control things, then it brings up big feelings in you.
Yeah.
And so then instead of being able to keep your good prefrontal cortex online and do decision-making, problem solving, you start being reactive too. And you're like, you are going to ruin our day. So not so much that there's not a component of control, because at that age there clearly is, but not seeing it that way. It's all in how you perceive what he's doing. So think about, okay, how can we make this easier for you? So if he's coming into the morning kind of already halfway up to screech, so he's waking up kind of not feeling good, if you can help him feel better before you transition into the now we need to go, then you take that stress for him and lower it so that he's at the most optimal spot for asking him to do something he may or may not want to do. So then we go to like, well, okay, what does that look like? Like, what could you actually do?
How do I know what he needs?
So part of that is just anticipating. So just like you know he's cold when you're cold, like what might be going on. So you know him really well, right?
I
So
do
does he
know him
usually
very well?
Right? You know this little creature. So when he wakes up in the morning, if he's hungry, do you think you could get him to like drink milk or something right away as soon as he wakes up, before he goes to the bathroom maybe, so that as soon as he wakes up he gets a little bit of nourishment in his system, so that the hungry thing maybe goes down one notch, so that he's not quite as famished and irritable when he gets to the breakfast table.
Could do that.
Maybe. So try something like that. So that you take, so think of all the different factors. So if we're thinking hungry, tired, and have to pee, and maybe a little bit of just baseline stress, because everybody in the household is stressed. So we know that the kids absorb the kind of household stress. So if everybody's feeling like, oh God, here we go again, another one of these mornings.
Yeah.
Like he could probably feels that. So trying to just address that stress in whatever way you can. One thing that helps with the bathroom is blowing bubbles. Does he like blowing bubbles?
I think he
You tried that?
probably would like to blow bubbles. You know, one thing that's definitely constantly a struggle is he wants to watch an episode of Paw Patrol when he's on the toilet, and every single time that we take that away, it's a catastrophe.
So he wants to watch like the whole episode.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what if you could transition that from being an entire episode of a show to just being like singing the Paw Patrol song? Singing is a really good thing. It's soothing the vagus nerve. So maybe switching from a whole episode to just like a song on like your phone or something that has maybe a little bit of the video, so he doesn't feel like you're completely changing the plot.
Yeah.
But maybe letting him sing. And does he sing along with it sometimes?
I've never tried.
Yeah.
I've never tried, so that's
Try.
something different.
See if he could sing along. So singing, and then the blowing of the bubbles is like a breathing thing. So that's big deep breath and blowing out hard. So
Okay.
if he do something like that, but usually I would say don't try to change things too much, or he'll be like, what are we doing? We've never done this before. So try to stay with kind of what you're already doing,
Okay.
but just pull in something that's going to soothe his nervous system while you're already doing what you're doing. So I'd aim for a little bit of something first thing in the morning, like quick something, some protein. I know you're really into nutrition with him. You're really, so I'm sure you've got an idea there. But like a little bit of a kid, smoothie or nutritional drink or something that you think he would drink, and just get something into his system as he's getting out of bed
That makes
before he
sense.
goes to the bathroom. So then in the bathroom, trying to give him a sense of time. So kids at that age really don't have a sense of time.
He does like timers. He likes when a timer goes off.
Okay. So you can do a timer, and then that's how long you have, and then you have to come to the breakfast table. But
Okay.
that might
Do that.
cause another wave of yuck if he isn't already doing something to soothe his nervous system as he gets ready. So singing, breathing, blowing bubbles while he has a timer. You can watch Paw Patrol, blow bubbles, and when the timer goes off, come to the breakfast table, that kind of thing. So that he's doing something to take care of himself while you're getting ready for the next step.
What do I do to help? So it feels like once he kind of tips over the edge of the tantrum, it's just like a volcano that erupts, and I don't know how to calm him down.
So at that point, you are, if you think about him as starting out at 0 and going to screech, or maybe in the morning he's starting out at 50, you're going to try to bring him to 0. But sometimes if they start out at 50 and they go to screech right away, you're just in disaster mode up there. So really what you're doing is just that co-regulation. You want to try as best you can to take care of yourself so that you don't start noticing your stress level rising, because at that point what he needs is a calm, safe, boring space to finish his big emotion. So not condescending, but just like, I know you're having a hard time. Mommy feels yucky in the morning sometimes too. I know we all kind of don't want to get out of the house. We'd love to go back to bed and stay in our pajamas. So whatever you're saying, make sure that it's soothing to him, but also soothing to you. And that's where you doing breathing exercises or singing yourself or doing something that helps you to feel better is super important. So notice when you're starting to feel that, oh God, here we go again feeling, because then you're no longer present. Your prefrontal cortex is not online. You're coming from that lower part of your brain. You're not able to problem solve, and you're no longer holding that really calm sea space for him to like return to calm. So at his age, he's learning how to self-regulate with your safe, calm co-regulation space. That makes sense. So it's okay that you don't feel good. It's okay that things aren't okay in that moment. But if you can shift our brains, especially when we're used to using our brains all day at work, our brains start going into problem solving mode. Well, it must be this, or it must be that, or it must be this. When really your brain's not terribly helpful in that situation because it's not even working terribly well if you're really frustrated or annoyed or feeling angry. So just going, okay, thank you, brain. I'm going to take care of myself. We are going to get through this. It's unpleasant right now, but it's not going to last forever. And then teaching any of the other kids in the
I was just
household.
gonna ask with that same strategy, is that as effective with his teenage sisters that are, probably just as, stressed when they, hear this screaming and the tantrum and they're trying to get ready for school, and I don't want them going to school
Right.
feeling tense and heightened, and
Because
all of the energy is going towards him to try to calm everything
Right.
down, and then I feel like my
Right.
other kids are like, oh, like, let's also make sure that all your needs are met.
So in that moment, I would say all of the older people in the house should have that same approach. Okay, he's over there doing the best he can this morning. He's having a hard day and he's crying. That doesn't mean that I'm doing something wrong. My job is to take care of myself. He's over there being a 3-year-old having a tough morning, and we are going to take care of ourselves, and we're going to say, I know it's hard, and model that for him. So that tell them that they have a job to do. They have to take care of themselves in that moment. Yes, he's having a hard time. He's doing the best he can, and don't worry, I've got that.
So they don't have to, I kind of just like recognize, but, kind of let them actively ignore what's going on.
Yeah.
And like try to take that tension down for them.
So, and honoring it though, so like, cause if there's a screaming 3-year-old in the room, nobody can ignore it, even if you want
Should
to.
I take him to a different room?
I wouldn't take him to a different room. I would just teach them the same breathing exercises, self-care skills. They can listen to music. They can put on their little AirPods and listen to something if they like singing. So have them come up with a list of a couple things that they could do while their brother's screaming.
So I could turn
That
it
will
into like
help
a
them.
teaching moment for them for, coping strategies that they can
Exactly.
use like later on when they're feeling stressed
Exactly.
and overstimulated in a totally different situation. So it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's not
It's
like
not
it's
a bad thing.
damaging them. It can actually be helpful if we figure out strategies to help them cope in the right way. So I don't have to feel like super guilty
You don't
because
have
my
to feel
household
super
is
guilty. And
falling apart in the morning.
You are not ruining anyone for life.
Okay, well that's good.
All right, so we'll talk again.
Okay,
All right.
thank you.
Thank you. All right, let's see if I can turn this off. That was perfect. Oh no, I hope it continues.